It was just like any other night. Malaysia Airlines in-flight supervisor Patrick Gomez checked in for duty at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport. He went through security clearance with his colleague before boarding their regular red-eye flight to Beijing. Flight number MH370.
Patrick always said that flying was safe. Safer than driving a car. So, go to work, come back, go to work, come back. Always comes back. And, that was the last time we saw him walking to the aircraft.
On board MH370, that fateful night, 227 passengers and 12 crew members. No one saw what was to come. The Boeing 777 simply vanished from the radar screens shortly after Malaysia Air Traffic Control handed over to the Vietnam counterparts. A massive search operation ensued in what was seen as an unprecedented incident in the history of modern aviation. Hundreds of vessels scoured the oceans from South China Sea to the Indian Ocean, but there was no sign of MH370. And Malaysia was under tremendous pressure. Daily news conferences yielded more questions than answers.
We were baffled by not getting any distress signal from this particular aircraft if they have gone missing.
Daily news conferences held at this auditorium were packed with hundreds of media practitioners, including myself. Now, Malaysian authorities were facing multiple criticism, from a lack of airport security to conflicting reports and slow response to the crisis.
I remember even one of the army, one of the top guys, he himself said, "I am also baffled. So what more us? All right, you guys are supposed to be there watching your radar and this, how can you just let one plane go missing?"
After waiting for 12 days, a lot of family members of passengers on board MH370 are losing patience. A group of Chinese nationals, they came here to get information firsthand, but they are frustrated. They barge into the media center demanding to know the truth, armed with banner. Now they were escorted out, pandemonium ensued. They are now being held in this room.
As days turned to weeks, families grew more anxious, but nothing could have prepared them for what they learned.
It is therefore with deep sadness and regret that I must inform you that according to this new data, Flight MH370 ended in the southern Indian Ocean.
We were like numb. Is that it? You say the plane is there, is that it? What else are you going to do? Because they said they will not stop until the plane is found. The Transport Minister said that, Prime Minister said that, but once he said that, it's the final resting place. When you say final resting place, that means you say they're dead. They're gone, totally.
For Jaquita, memories of her husband, Patrick, are fresh in her mind. This church is where the couple walked down the aisle and exchanged vows almost 40 years ago. They went on to have 3 children, 2 daughters and 1 son. Jaquita keeps herself busy with the grandchildren. She teaches at a preschool and volunteers regularly at the church. Her days are full, including weekends. But closure is nowhere in sight, Jaquita says.
When somebody passes on through illness, accidents, or whatever, they have their final resting place. They have a niche to go to put their ashes in. They have a cemetery to bury their loved ones. What have we got? We've got nothing.
She hopes that the search can resume.
Give it another go. Don't just give up like that, because MH370 is not going to go away. You can't sweep it under the rug.
In 2018, US-based Ocean Infinity embarked on a 3-month no-cure, no-fee search covering over 110,000 square kilometers of the southern Indian Ocean. The search ended without any new discovery, despite it costing over $500 million. The Malaysian government has promised to resume the search as soon as there's new credible evidence.
The government's stand has always been very consistent. If there are credible information to be submitted to the government, then we are prepared to resume the search.
Yeah, but what do you consider as credible evidence, though?
Well, this is something that at least you have to be very particular, very clear about the search area. It cannot be just a general big area that you think is possible. I think that is something for our respective technical team to determine. But the moment we have any credible information, and there's a proposal from this search company, Ocean Infinity, then we are prepared to resume the search.
Till then, Jaquita and many loved ones of those on board are holding on.
Until today, we've not had a memorial for Patrick. I feel so bad for not having a memorial because, I know he's gone. They can't live in the ocean, all right? It's not fair to my children also if I keep holding on. So I decided actually this year to have a memorial for him and put something of his together with his mom. So they'll be together. Can't be ashes because I don't have him. So I've actually decided to put our wedding ring, his wedding ring, which we have.
我孩子是14年被中兴公司派到马来西亚，在3月8号回国办续签证的时候，搭上了这个马航 MH370这个航班。
这是我们家境，就是说这一辈子就照着一张全家福。这是我大女儿，这是小女儿，这就是我儿子，他小名叫立苗。就是晚上睡不着的时候，我就要看这张照片。到过生日这一天呢，我就拿出这个照片来。看到别人的孩子的时候，我就回家，我要拿出这个相片来，我要亲一下孩子。这就是这个照。
孩子上大学就是国家贷款，他从诺基亚跳槽来到这个公司之后，那就是我们刚刚还完国家贷款，就是家庭生活刚刚有了起色，就摊上这样的事情。自己去努力，我孩子就是你公派出去的。那你中兴公司就应该给我们家有一个说法，或者说给我们一定的赔偿。我今天抱一些希望，希望能今天结束。跟我们来吧。 其实这3年的疫情，我也开始思考，人生到底，人活着到底为了个什么？不要一直在苦苦的，在这里边去挣扎，应该去享受生活。假如说我孩子在的话，也想让我的晚年更舒服一些，更幸福一些。所以说，从这个角度上，我想把这一篇翻过去，但是太难了。在没有发生这个事件之前，咱就是一个老农民，别说这个微博什么了，就连这个名词都没有听说过，包括这个电脑也是这样。爹娘找他白了头，不知还能不能再对谋。每年在我孩子的生日那一天，我们2个人就是不管花费多少钱，我们要跑到北京首都机场去那等，就是说万一我今天来了，我孩子回来了，哪怕明明知道是不可能有结果，我们也要去，这才是我们去坚持去做这样的事情的。
首先，第一方面，我是为了我的母亲，为了找到她，在做所有的事情。第二方面呢，也说不上所谓的发言人吧，可能也是因为我的这些工作经历吧，可能跟人沟通啊，表达能力啊，可能比较强一点，所以就延续下来这个工作。
我们要证据，我们要证据，我们要真相，我们要真相，我们要亲人，我们要亲人。
现在呢是去外交部，9点半跟他们约好了见面。结束之后呢，我们中午呢，几个家属呢要见个面。下午呢要去北京市第2中级人民法院，就是我对中国民航局这个行政诉讼的这几个案子，而且3点钟放学一定得回来，要不然闺女会不高兴。
那个今天是在那个外交部那个门口呢，还是在对面那个公寓啊？
基本上每周4都会去。家属3月8号之前要去马来西亚参加那10周年的那个周年活动，我们请外交部帮我们约见了这个马来西亚交通部，最好还能见到这个马来西亚总理。10周年也是一个期限了，我希望能有所不同。我觉得我们所有的家属从2014年3月8号那天就真的组成了一个大家庭。
就是今天跟外交部谈的怎么样？
今天没有一些确切的结果，然后问他那个就是我们转交那个信啊什么的，他们接待我们的人不知道具体情况，说下周再给我们答复，下周再来看。对，没事，你给他锁紧。哎，小付，来。法院终于正式开庭了。 我们觉得呢是一个欣慰的事情，是一个转折点，但是10年当中家属的这种生存生活的境遇的这种恶化，确实让我们感到也很悲哀。
我觉得它还有在影响我，尤其是到一些关键的时间和节点的时候，我基本上是无法睡眠。这个责任确实是很重的，因为在这个10年当中，尤其是开始的时候，并不是所有家属对你都有信任的，有时候可能会甚至有些误解。但是我相信，时间是最好的一种工具。无人船、无人潜水器并发搜索这种技术，已经日新月异了。我相信它在我的有生之年就能被解决。我觉得只有找到了飞机，找到了亲人之后，我觉得我才能释怀。
A Malaysia Airlines pilot for 3 decades, Captain Razman Mahmud now heads the Civil Aviation Authority, or CAAM. The main air traffic control center has moved from Subang to a $140 million facility located next to KL International Airport. It's now the heart of civil aviation safety and security in Malaysia.
This center houses what we call ARCC, Aeronautical Rescue Coordination Center. Yeah. So we are actually, as CAM, we are the main coordinator if there's any search and rescue that needs to be done in our flight information region, in our airspace. So we have become the head of coordinator to coordinate all the assets from the Air Force, from bomber, from police, all. We can activate immediately if something happens.
Since 2022, CAAM has put in place a safety compliance procedure known as the Unbreakable, which aims for 0 fatalities in all scheduled commercial operations.
When you say unbreakable, something can be breakable, but you have to ensure, you have to keep on going to ensure it's unbreakable, right? We already have a procedure put in place.
Can we also safely say that if it happened, if the plane were to disappear from the radar screen, it won't go down the way of MH370. You'll be able to find it.
Touch wood, I wouldn't say it wouldn't happen, but there are a lot of mitigations that's already put in place. Hopefully, when things happen, all the procedures, policy put in place, will work.
Also grappling with changes and eager to move on is Malaysia Airlines. 2014 has been described as a year of disasters. The national carrier saw the tragic disappearance of MH370 in March, and 4 months later, the shocking downing of MH17.
10 years ago, we saw how damaging it was reputationally, not just for the airline, but also for Malaysia Inc. And we saw how disorganized, we saw how frantic and flustered management was, even some of the ministers at that time, because they clearly didn't know how to handle it.
In 2015, the airline was declared technically bankrupt. All its operations, assets and liabilities were transferred to a new entity.
When you look back at the loss of 370 especially was, I can't say it's a blessing in disguise, but it was a trigger for the change that were to come within Malaysia Airlines Group. They came out from 2014 with a tattered reputation and not knowing where they would go, and there were talk that They may even be shut down by the government at that time. And so there was a lot of uncertainty for the company and the employees there. Today we're seeing over 5 billion ringgit in their reserves. You know, they have a balance sheet which is the envy of many airlines in the region.
Today, the airline is far from what it used to be, with its Skytrax ranking falling from the top 10 20 years ago to 47th place last year. But all this is going to change, says its new CEO, Mr. Ahmad Luqman. When meeting him at the recent unveiling of a luxurious transfer service for the airline's premium customers, the group now, he says, has the means to invest in its 6,000-strong workforce, and training is key to improving the quality of services.
We will go back to those days and even better, because to us, we want to create a home for our customer to bring back those glory days. We want to be among the best airline in Asia Pacific as well, going forward as part of our aspiration.
The national flag carrier has set an ambitious target and now aims to be among the top 10 airlines by 2030.
Knowing the history, knowing the DNA of the company, there is a fighting chance, provided they keep their heads down. They are doing that. They don't get too far ahead of themselves. It's a constant work in progress. And I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that that can be done.
Indeed, Malaysia Airlines is more than just an airline. It's a microcosm of the country. The loss of MH370 brought people from all faiths and all walks of life closer together 10 years ago, united in grief and standing in solidarity with the victims. These paper cranes have long faded over the past decade, but they're still on display here at the local mall to remember victims of MH370 and to stand in solidarity with the families. A reminder that they're not alone and the loved ones will never be forgotten.